welcome back to the show.
Here we are again.
We are here again, and we have a
DVDs
TV show here. Yes.
What could these be?
What is
well,
this?
You should just read the name because it's Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
It is. So we got a request from someone to do
Loyal fan.
Yes.
Loyal fan of the show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for suggesting it. It's an awesome idea. And so we've made other videos about things you didn't know about old TV shows. And this is about Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Now, it's not as old as the other ones. This went from 1993 to 1998 for 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit newer, but it's still older, you know? So we wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's not current Netflix.
Right. So this was partly we did it because they suggested it, and also it's actually Jane Seymour's birthday is coming up in a month.
Oh, happy birthday, Jane.
Yeah, so she was, if you don't know who that is, she was the main character in the show, Dr. Quinn. So,
and we got to meet her in person.
We did.
Pretty
We're
cool.
going to talk about that a little bit later. But, yeah, so it is almost her birthday in February. So happy birthday, Jane, if you happen to find this anywhere.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so we're just going to share some behind-the-scenes facts about the show that you might not have known. So we can get started with the first ones. Okay, so the first little tidbit we have is right before Jane Seymour got the role of, Dr. Quinn, Dr. Michaela Quinn, in 1992, she was actually in dire need of money as her business manager / then husband had just gotten her into a lot of debt, almost $9 million.
Oh, that's a lot of debt.
Yeah. So she was actually just about to go homeless along with her small children when she got the part of Dr. Quinn. When she was in debt, she called her agent and asked him to help her find any small acting roles that she could get.
Just whatever.
Right, anything. And he found her the part of Dr. Quinn. The network told her that she had to sign a 5-year deal if it worked out, and that she had to start filming in less than 12 hours.
Well,
Can you
that's
believe
a way
that?
to start a job.
Yeah, and she had to memorize a bunch of stuff in 12 hours. But it not only ended up being a highly successful show, it also financially saved Jane and her family.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
So in order to embrace the full character of the mountain man Byron Sully, who was played by actor Joe Lando, he felt it was necessary to do all his own stunts. So this meant he could be galloping horseback. He was running across the top of a moving train at one point.
Yeah.
He said that he felt it gave his character authenticity, and it was more like an opportunity for him to do these things because it's like, when am I ever going to be able to do this?
Yeah, so it's like really cool opportunities.
And he felt to embrace the character of Sully, he should be doing them himself. And sometimes it was really put to the test because one time it included him eating live worms.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and that's just
dedication.
Yeah, and that's just a few things that he did.
Yeah, because he was mountain man, so he had to do mountain man stuff.
Right, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe there were a few things that he didn't do. Like, there's a scene where, they jump off of, like, a cliff. It's, like, 100 feet tall. Do you think that he ever went off that? I don't know for sure if he did everything.
I don't know if it would be every single thing. I don't know if he was even allowed to do everything.
Probably not
but
that,
maybe
yeah.
as much as he could.
Right, yeah. So, though the show was set in Colorado Springs, it was actually filmed at Paramount Ranch in Agora Hills. And sadly, Paramount Ranch has actually been destroyed by the wildfires of California.
So sad.
Yeah, resulting in all the loss of the old Frontier sets. But we were actually fortunate enough to see it before it burned down.
We did. We went to visit in person 2 years
did.
before it burned down.
We did. But unlike other dramatic shows, which often had closed sets, fans were actually encouraged and allowed to come and visit Paramount Ranch to talk with the actors and watch the filming take place. And even they were allowed to be in certain crowd scenes if they could, commit to a day or 2 days of filming. They could actually be in the crowds.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and as we said, we were fortunate enough to go and see the set a few years before it burned down because we took a trip to California for the 25th reunion of the show. They had all the cast there, and we got to meet them. And
Writers,
it was really cool.
They had Beth Sullivan there, who's the creator of the show.
Yeah, so we got to do that. And if you would like to watch our episode, we made one a long time ago about that actual trip. You can watch it up here, and we tell you all about that.
This is
really
like
fun
a part 2 of Dr. Quinn.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, that was a lot of fun that we got to do that all before it burned down.
So Joe Lando was the first member of the cast to sign on to the series, with Jane Seymour soon following after. And producers didn't really know if the series would be picked up, so they made a TV movie version of the pilot. And the pilot was nearly 2 hours long, and it resulted as being a huge hit.
Yeah.
People loved it. So, of course, it got picked up to be on TV after that. But this meant that many of the actors who were in the TV movie they made couldn't be in the series because they couldn't commit to that time. For instance, in the pilot, Jake Slicker, who is Michaela's competition for Town Doctor, is played by Cole Meany, but he had to be replaced because he was already starring on Star Trek Deep Space Nine at the time.
Yeah,
so
they all
had
had
the show.
This wasn't like they were all signed. Not like Jane Seymour, where she had like a
Yeah.
5-year deal. Like this was, they came on just for a movie, and like, oh, it's gonna be serious now.
Oh,
Can't
sorry,
do it.
I'm busy.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't stay because of that.
They had to get some new cast members, which was okay because I think it worked out. I like all the cast members.
I do, yeah. So Joe Lando was reportedly unhappy with the direction of his character in the show's 5th season, and he was also appearing on the soap opera Guiding Light at the same time. So he was actually considering leaving the show at that point.
Oh, Sully.
He
and
can't
that
leave.
hair.
Yeah.
Can't replace that hair.
No, you can't.
Is that his real hair, or did he have a wig? I think that's his real hair.
I think that's his real hair.
I think it
He
was.
doesn't have it anymore, but he did have that. So because of that, the creator of the show, Beth Sullivan, decided to shake things up during the season 5 finale and had Sully thrown off a cliff into a river, leaving the viewers unsure if he was dead or alive. Sullivan did this just in case Lando didn't come back on the show for the next season. So if he didn't come back, you know, Dr. Quinn would find him dead in the next season, and if he did come back, then he would be alive when she found him. But yeah, so Joe Lando did end up coming back for the last season.
Good job, Joe.
Right, but also he only came back part-time, which meant he wasn't on nearly as much as he was on the other seasons, and that was probably part of the reason of the decline in the last season, because he wasn't there as much.
Right. Couldn't have as much Sully time.
Yeah.
At one time, Colorado Springs was exactly the neighborhood that Fred Rogers wanted to visit. There is an episode called Deal with the Devil, and Reverend Timothy Jackson's mentor comes to town, and he wants to do everything in his power to make a good impression and fix the rundown church up to make it look good for him. When Reverend Thomas arrives, it's no other than Mr. Rogers
Fred
himself.
Rogers, yeah, from Mr.
We were
Rogers'
very
Neighborhood.
happy when we saw that. We're like, look, it's Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, because we loved the show that he had.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had never had an acting credit before, besides, of course, his kids' show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which we watched all the
We
time.
loved it.
But he was very impressed with Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and he actually requested if he could be part of the show. So they wrote a guest star part around him, and he appeared as the Reverend.
That's really, really cool, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, he had the show at the time, his own show, so he probably traveled all the way from Pittsburgh to California, so he must have really loved the show.
Yeah, I guess he was quite a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's a really good quality show. So, because they use similar or even authentic 1800s clothes for the show, oftentimes they were incredibly hot while filming. And all or some of the days that they filmed were in the summertime in California, Southern California, so that made it all the more worse.
Yeah.
And we actually heard when we were at the reunion, Frank Carlson, who played Horace Bing, said that he remembers a particular filming day where it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit and they had to film all day in the head-to-toe 1800s clothing. Oh my gosh, that would be so hard. He said that sweat was just pouring from him and all the other cast members, except for Barbara Babcock, who was known for being extremely proper, just a very extremely proper person. And he actually laughed, saying he still doesn't know how she managed it. Like, she was the only one not sweating.
She's like, we're not sweating today.
It's not
That's
happening.
not
No.
proper. Not happening. Interestingly enough, Brandon Douglas, who plays Dr. Andrew Cook, met his future wife on Dr. Quinn. At the time, his wife had been acting as one of Hank's saloon girls when he was appearing on the show. So look at that.
She caught his eye. Yep. We heard that actually at the reunion too. It was pretty interesting.
He said he thanks Dr. Quinn for his wife.
Yeah. Another little fun tidbit is for Michaela's wedding dress in season 3, Jane and Beth Sullivan actually traveled to England together to find like real authentic period lace and fabric for the dress to make it as real as possible to the 1800s. It's just kind of cool. They went together.
That's very neat.
Yeah.
Another interesting tidbit is that Beth Sullivan created the show using facts loosely based on multiple female pioneers from the 1800s. Not all of the women were from Colorado. However, Sullivan did a lot of research to further develop the idea and then let the writers kind of take it from there. She still oversaw the development and the storyline to ensure that it was in line with her overall plan for the show. And the supporting cast were also given opportunities to give feedback to the writers to help develop their characters a little bit.
Yeah.
So she wasn't necessarily writing every single episode, but she was the idea person.
Yeah, and I heard she was like very involved with the show and the direction that it would go in.
Yes, she had a plan and she wanted to stick to it.
She did. So our last fact about the show here is that in season 6 of Dr. Quinn, there's a much more dramatic and dark tone.
It is. We're watching it. We're like, what is happening to the show?
I mean, everything was so dark, and that's different from the somewhat lighter seasons before. Even though there were always some dark episodes, they had some lighter ones mixed in.
Yeah.
You know, but this was like, it was
like
very
every
dark.
single time was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Like,
What's going on? Yeah, so this dark tone had nothing to do with what the cast or writers wanted, and everything to do with CBS's ratings system and the demographic that they wanted to watch the show. When the series began, it was popular with 18 to 49-year-old men and women, but by the 6th season, it was only popular with women over 40. An effort to get their younger viewers back, producers encouraged writers to introduce events like, Michaela's miscarriage and her PTSD from being shot, and, to make it, I don't know, I guess they thought the darker things, more edgy. But viewership didn't improve, and the series was canceled after season 6. And CBS had decided, quote, no more dirt roads, because they wanted to move on to more modern things. They didn't want old westerns and stuff like that, so it did end after that. Yeah.
No more dirt roads.
And from the last episode of season 6, I think they did want it to go on for at least another season because it kind of ended in like a cliffhanger. There were things that happened.
They kept going, but they're like,
they had to
thanks
cancel it.
CBS.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Could have gotten more, but oh well. So that's what we have today about the show. Hope you've enjoyed this and learned some things. Comment down below if there's anything that we didn't get that you know about the show, or any other shows that you want us to cover. We'd love to do that. And now it is time for the news.
Well, here we go again. The yearly thermostat war in the office. It's about 30 degrees in here, and I can never get warm enough. Every January we go through this. I cannot be expected to work in these conditions. Oh yeah, and there's a recall on all bananas, just so you know.
It's like 97 degrees in here. No one will turn down the thermostat. I am so hot. I can't even. I am dripping with sweat. Do you see this? I cannot work in these conditions. I'm so hot. The only thing that would make this better is bananas. But I can't even have those. I'm so hot. Help me.
And now it is time for the Taylor Treasure Box.
Bring it out. Full of new things.
We're gonna go across the seasons.
There you go.
Whee! Okay.
Not sure why we did that, but okay.
A little fun thing to do,
Would you rather be an extra in Star Wars or get a whole acting part in Lord of the Rings?
It's a tough one.
No, I'd rather be an extra in Star Wars.
Really? You wouldn't want a full
Well,
part?
because being an actor is actually quite intense.
It is.
And you have a random schedule. You kind of just have to do whatever they say. Plus, I don't really think I'm gifted in acting, but I could be a killer extra.
You could.
Let me do
You could
that.
be like
And then-
Gene Man in The Mandalorian.
Because, Gene Man for The Mandalorian. We were watching Mandalorian, and we're like, how cool would it be to be in one of these new Star Wars
I know.
shows as an extra.
Especially, like...
Even if you're not on camera, just to know you were there and you could have been in it.
Right. And like, even like a stormtrooper, like, I know you'd have to learn all the choreography and be a stuntman and stuff, but like, you don't even have to show your face. Like,
I know, you just like, look, there I am, stormtrooper number KT547.
I
actually, once I did go to be an extra in a Netflix series, but when I finally got to see my scene, I was like walking up to a movie theater and they were gonna like have the person pull in a car and have a conversation. We were all just blurry blobs. So I was like, look, there's myself as a blurry blob. And it was a long day. Like, we were there. That's what I mean. Like, when you're an actor, like, we were there.
Well, there's a lot of standing around and waiting. Like, the acting that you see is a very small part of it. You know, they're getting the lighting ready, everything. Yeah.
Because I got there at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then like we had to get everything set up. We had to sign in, get our costumes and all that, and then they had to bus us out to the location. We didn't get back until like 1:30 in the morning. Like, it was and they gave us food and stuff, but it was pretty much just me walking with this other guy up to the movie theater pretending to go in like a billion times.
Yeah. And is like all they filmed just that one scene in that day?
Or did it? Wow. I mean, I don't know if they had other locations they were doing stuff, but that location, that's all we did, is they drove up. I didn't even see where they drove up to. I just saw that the camera started rolling, and it was cool that they had these trucks that had like giant tubs of water on them, and they would drive down the road that they blocked off with this old movie theater, and they would spray everything to look like it had rained, because it was supposed to be, it was wet. So they would do that periodically. But yeah, we just did that all day. Just walked to the movie theater and came back.
Well, we actually do know someone. He was there. Wasn't he there the same day that you filmed? And
he was at I was at the movie theater, and he was at the bowling alley, I think.
Yeah.
There were two things happening.
And there was like 3 times you could clearly see his face, and he was like,
it was like
by.
a very 70s type show, and he grew like a very 70s look. So I think they're like, get him. He looks ideal.
Okay, so mine is, would you rather go back to your childhood or go back to a decade, or go to a decade you weren't alive for?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, is this like, for a little while, or are we saying like forever you'd have to?
No, just to visit.
Just to visit? Huh. That's a toughie. I guess childhood. Go back and see things. Because you forget stuff, and you go back, oh yeah, I remember that, and then see the stuff that you do remember. That'd be kind of cool.
We'll take you back to the big shorts.
Balloon shorts. It's an inside joke we don't need to get into.
Someday we'll tell you about the balloon shorts.
Yeah. But I like, with like, as much as I like the older decades, I kind of like the mystery of it. Like, I don't want to go back and see it like, oh, it's actually not as magical as I thought it was. Like, just keep the magic. I don't need to
romanticize all of it.
Right. Okay, so again, we hope you have enjoyed this episode, learned some fun facts about the show.
I really want to do this, like Domino's.
Don't you dare.
Can I do it like Domino's?
No! Don't you dare. I took forever to set that up. Actually, didn't take that long, but... It doesn't work. So again, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let us know down below. If there are any shows you'd like us to do. And make sure to give this video a like and a comment, and make sure to subscribe. And after you subscribe, make sure to press the bell so you get all of our videos in your notifications box, or else subscription doesn't really mean anything because you don't see our videos.
The point of subscribing is to see our stuff, I guess.
Right.
So.
And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, which is @TaylorTreasuresOfficial. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that episode.
I'm going to read the back
If you
of
would
this
like to subscribe
Transplanted from Boston
here,
to rough around the edges
of
Colorado Springs, Dr. Mike faces an uphill battle
and you can also
adapting
subscribe
to her
here
new
if you want to
surroundings
subscribe.
and
You can watch a
convincing her
video
neighbors to
over
accept
here
a
if you
female
want to see
physician.
that. You can
With
also
the
go to our
initial
channel. There's
adjustment
videos
behind
there.
her,
You can probably
24
not
seasons
understand
in
anything
season
we're saying.
2,
That's okay,
see
because
Mike
you can go see
growing
this stuff right
into
here by
life on the
yourself, and there's
frontier,
just,
raising her
this-
3 adopted children, becoming ever closer to Sully, and trying to maintain her convictions, and the health of the town as they faced constant challenges.
Good to know. All right. See you next time. Bye.